Hello everyone and welcome back to the Great Book of Grudges. My name is Nathan and today I want to talk about DLC. Yes, it's still very early to be really jumping into the DLC speculation stuff, and this isn't really speculation, more so a suggestion for Creative Assembly. And that suggestion is simply we should no longer have Lord Packs as DLC options anymore. And yeah, I know it sounds weird, but hear me out, trust me. So Lord Packs are an interesting DLC. It's race versus race, where two different races will get some attention, sometimes free in the form of FLC, but it's mostly just 1 versus 1. Most of the DLCs we've had in the series have focused around that format. Skaven versus Dark Elves, Greenskins versus Dwarfs, you know, pretty much anything that you'd expect as a typical matchup. Now, that works well, but a big problem with those DLCs is that one always gets more attention than the other. In the question of Skaven DLC, they always get the most attention when pitting them up against anyone else. And if we look towards anything that's included the Lizardmen, well, the Lizardmen have always kind of suffered, haven't they? Now, I'm not saying that the DLC are bad, because the DLC does introduce new mechanics, new units, and so on, but I think it's time to do away with the 1 versus 1 pack. Specifically saying no more race versus race because, well, it's becoming very obvious that some races are falling behind rather quickly. The Lizardmen are not in a good place at the moment, and there's a few other races from Game 1 and Game 2 which are suffering too. So how can this issue be fixed? Well, the answer is rather simple. Single race focused Lord Packs. This means that the attention does not need to be divided between two different races. So think about any DLC, the Silence and the Fury, the Twist and the Twilight, anything. Now imagine if all the attention was placed within one specific race. All the attention and development time would go towards them. So if we say a hypothetical Lizardmen DLC could have attention focused towards 2 legendary characters if possible, or 1 legendary lord and a number of legendary heroes, and the rest being focused entirely on a Lizardmen rework. And I'm saying this because sometimes reworks are rather lackluster. Keep in mind that the dwarfs have needed what, 2 reworks, the vampire counts now need their second, and we do kind of need one for the empire and so on. So if everything goes into one focus, that means that the race can be fully done, which includes new characters, new units, and proper reworks to bring them more in line with Game 3. It's going to be very obvious that when we get Immortal Empires, certain races are going to falter when dealing with all the different type of races in the game, specifically with Game 3 races being made more powerful. Don't get me wrong, the Lord Pack idea is actually a pretty good one, but the problem is that we do see the obvious bias there. The perfect example here would literally be the Prophet and the Warlock. Ikit Claw and Clan Scryer got really cool mechanics, loads of really fun things to play around with. However, Tehenwyn and the Cult of Sotek, well, it's not really a character and a faction that you really look forward to playing. It didn't really get any cool stuff to distinguish it as a legendary lord. Yes, he's got a unique model and some unique mechanics, but if you compare the two, it's literally apples and oranges, with the most enjoyable being Ikit. So if, say for example, we get Lizardmen DLC, then it can focus on bringing in some cool characters like, say, Teteweco and just anyone else, and then just having a lot of dev time going into some cool units, some stuff that is lacking from the Lizardmen roster at the moment, and obviously a very meaty Lizardmen rework, which I think many people want right now, because even in Warhammer 2, the Lizardmen were just not too fun to play, mainly because they struggled in a lot of scenarios. Again, using the Lizardmen as an example, because they're the ones suffering the most at the moment in my opinion, that means that we could get a character, we could get changes to the Geomantic Web, we could get changes to the legendary lords that were DLC and FLC in the past that really do need some help to make them more unique, alongside whatever else they have planned for a rework that won't be kinda lackluster that we've been seeing through other races that needed a second, and who knows, maybe even a third, because the dwarf rework still needs a little bit of help. I think something like this would work out rather well because it stops from splitting up attention, and attention can be focused wholly on one race. And yes, reworks and so on are free, which means that they aren't part of the DLC. They come out for free regardless if you purchase the DLC or not, but the idea is that that means that all the attention can go into one race. We've seen it and I've mentioned it, and this will stop that issue. Now, I know some people might be concerned about DLC speed, as DLC has been kinda slow lately. I imagine that it's going to be a bit quicker now as people start returning to the office and so on, so I don't think that DLC will be as slow as the ones that we had for Warhammer 2 recently, which were what, 4 to 6 months? I think they might even be a little bit faster, because Because if they only have to focus on one faction, on one race, the workload would effectively be a little bit less. I'm not saying halfway because they'd have to put all their attention to said faction, but that means that they could potentially bring out DLC faster. The main thing is we are all aware that there is a bias when it comes to these Lord packs, and it needs to end so every race and faction can get an equal share when it comes to paid for content. Essentially, it would be giving them the race pack treatment where all attention is on them, and I think that that's probably going to be the best way to move forward as the series gets older and so many factions are in dire need of help. And just to make things easier, I've included a frame here, as you can see on screen right now, which has all the details that I've spoken about in this video, just because I think that this would be easier. So no more Lord packs, race versus race DLC. Lord packs should now focus on one race. This would include 1 to 2 legendary lords, the return of legendary heroes, which we've been missing for a DLC now, and it's kind of weird that we haven't gotten any new units for the race as a whole, and mechanics also included for the faction involved or factions, and the patch would include a rework for the race to bring up onto par with Warhammer 3, rework for previous DLC and FLC lords to bring them on par with the current system. Many of them are falling behind on this, and the usual FLC character, though that's never usually a given. It just depends if they want to do one or not, but I think all this kind of works out quite well. This is just a suggestion to Creative Assembly, just to see if something else can be done. Maybe they've got something like this in mind already, we don't know, but it would be good if this just helped out races and factions that just really need the help. Lizardmen, Norska, Warriors of Chaos, I mean, even vampire counts kind of need something at the moment. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below and let's start a bit of a discussion. But with that, my friends, we've come to the end of our video. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, might I suggest giving the video a like or even subscribing to the channel, as it really does help us out. In the description section below are various links to different social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, and Discord. Also in the description section is an affiliate link with Element Games where you could buy loads of hobby-based products, not just Warhammer, for 10 to 25% off. Making a purchase using that link and also our special code, which is also in the description, supports the channel at no extra cost to you, which we think is rather cool. A big thank you to our patrons. Your support means the world to us. It's amazing that people want to help a small channel like us grow and get to a higher level of content. A big thank you to Gibraltar LUSC, Ryan Bertsche, Andrew Prince, and Okro for subscribing to us at our Fane level. You guys are super cool. And a big thank you to Edward Yule, VS Vasan, Aaron Whitman, and Shaggy for subscribing to us at our King level. Honestly, we can't thank you all enough. And lastly, a big thank you to all of you for liking, sharing, and commenting on these videos. Honestly, it's because of you guys that the channel's been growing at such a great pace lately, so we can't thank you all enough. But with that, my friends, thank you so much for watching once again, and we shall see you all again very soon. Have a good day.